What's up everybody, Tim Gosnell here, and today we are talking about the hidden cost of credit cards. Now, I've been debt averse for the majority of my adult life, but it's only in the past year or two that we've stopped using credit cards for everyday purchases. Now, we use credit cards and we paid them off in full the majority of the time. There's only a handful of months that I can think of where we didn't, and so we use them because you get credit card points and you have some consumer protection and there's extended warranty. And so I felt like it was worth using the credit card and still paying it off every month. What's the problem? Like, what's the big deal? And I've read some studies, I've read some research, and I've since discovered that there is a huge hidden cost that you can't account for. So there's a couple of studies that I want to look at. And so we're going to start with one by MIT. And in this study, they took a group of people and they divided them into two. And they said, this group is going to pay with credit cards and this group is going to pay with cash. And they were buying tickets to some sort of event. Now, the group that paid with credit cards were willing, on average, to pay twice as much as the group that was paying for cash. Now, why is that? I'm not exactly sure, and I mean, we can look at the results, but we can only speculate about the reason why. Now, the reason I think is because when we pay with credit, we don't feel that hit on our account, like our debit account, our checking account. The balance stays the same. We don't immediately see that go down. If we're paying with cash out of our wallet, we immediately see the number of bills that we have in our wallet go down. But with credit, we don't really feel that until the bill comes and we have to pay that bill, which happens once a month. There was another study done by Bradstreet that found that the average person spends 12 to 18% more when using credit cards than when using cash. That's the biggest reason I made the switch, is like, even if I pay it off every month, there's still something psychologically that happens where we tend to spend more when we're using credit cards than when we're using cash. So for us, we've switched to a budgeting system that involves debit cards and a weekly automated budget system. And I hope to be releasing a video very soon where I go into detail about that. And I think it'll be very helpful for you. So look forward to that. But we still use credit cards for specific use cases, and I'll go over those for us. For us, any recurring payments that we can put on credit cards, we do put on credit cards. The other thing that we put on credit cards is large purchases. So when I'm planning on buying a new computer or we're going on vacations, those sorts of things, those all go on credit cards. The big reason for that is for larger purchases, a lot of credit cards and the credit cards that we use extend the warranty. They 2x the warranty. So if it had a 1-year warranty, you now have a 2-year warranty, and we've taken advantage of that many times. In those situations, we still use it. Medical expenses would be the other exception where we do use credit cards as well. And then we have our credit cards set on automatic payment to pay the balance in full from our checking account. The last big reason why we stopped using credit cards is I find that it is much more difficult to budget when you're using a credit card versus using a debit account. When you're using a credit card, you see the balance going up of how much you owe, and then you have what's in your checking or savings account that you have to look at, and then there's some sort of math that has to happen to know how much you have left, right? And so that's one way. The other way is to track every single expense. We use something called YNAB, which I'm a big fan of their principles, and for that type of software, it's great, but that still requires you to set up your budget, to budget every week, to track transactions, and they have some things that automate it and make it a little bit easier, but you still have to be highly involved with it. So it's too much work. With our system, where you just look at the balance and your spending debit account, you immediately know how much money you have left, assuming everything's clear. And so it gives you a much faster, better picture of your spending, whereas with a credit card, there's some math involved. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. If this video has been helpful, please hit the like button. It means a lot and it will help more people find this information. Thanks. Bye.